Jack Benny was one of the most popular and influential comedians of the early to mid-20th century. His popular radio and TV program, The Jack Benny Show, was on the air for more than 3 decades, earning Benny millions of fans and countless accolades. Jack was known for his comic timing and uncanny ability to induce laughter with a single expression or expertly executed pause. In 1927, he married the love of his life, Sadie Marks, better known by her stage name Mary Livingstone. They never had a biological child of their own, but adopted a baby girl named Joan in 1934. While she might not have shared his own genes, Benny absolutely adored his adopted daughter. Join Facts Verse as we take a look back in time at Jack Benny and Joan Benny's heartwarming relationship. Jack Benny's early years. Jack Benny, known for his titular radio and television comedy series The Jack Benny Show, was born Benjamin Kubelski on February 14, 1894 in Chicago. He got his start as a violinist before transitioning to comedy. At the age of 8, Benny was handed his first violin and immediately got to work trying to master the instrument. While in 9th grade, Benny dropped out of school. A couple years later, he found himself a part of the vaudeville circuit. During one performance, Benny told a joke, which resulted in the audience roaring with laughter. He knew at that moment comedy was in his future. In 1917, he left the touring vaudeville group he was in to enlist in the U.S. Navy during the First World War. While serving, Benny took to entertaining his fellow soldiers with his violin. It was around this time he officially changed his name to Jack Benny. While performing at a show called the Great Lakes Review, Benny used his gift for comedy to make a lasting impression with his audience. After realizing he had a true gift for putting a smile on people's faces and making them laugh, he decided to leave music behind and pursue a full-time comedy career instead. Life's unexpected twists and turns. In the 1920s, Benny's life took an unexpected yet welcome turn when his comedy career began to take off. He also met and performed alongside a woman named Sadie Marks, who performed under the stage name Mary Livingstone. After performing alongside each other for a while, their professional relationship turned romantic, and by 1927, the two rising stars were married. 2 years later, Jack signed a lucrative 5-year contract with MGM Studios. In 1932, he wound up in front of the mic of what would become one of the most significant radio programs of the era, the Jack Benny program. While he undoubtedly felt gratitude for a chance to take his unique brand of comedy to the American airways, he likely had no idea how significant this new chapter of his life would be. The Jack Benny program might have started off as a relatively run-of-the-mill radio show, but it quickly took on a life of its own and developed a devoted fan base. Ultimately, in its radio and television incarnations, the Jack Benny program ran for more than 3 decades and is generally considered to be one of the most influential 20th century comedy series. With the Jack Benny program, Jack essentially created a sitcom within a sitcom, while delivering a comedic caricature of himself, a character who was both a minimally talented musician and a frugal penny pincher who was often the butt of the show's jokes. An excellent ensemble of fellow performers surrounded him, and the writing team was equally talented. The show ran between 1932 and 1955, first on CBS and later on NBC. Don Wilson was the program's announcer. Eddie Anderson served as Benny's chauffeur and valet. Then you had Eugene McNulty, who played the singer Dennis Day, and Benny's wife, Sadie Marks, who played his sarcastic comic foil of a girlfriend, Mary Livingstone. Other notable characters included Phil Harris, who played himself, and Mel Blanc, who played various roles. Before we tell you more about Jack Benny, be sure to give this video a like, and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. The jump to television and Baby Joan. Since Benny's radio program was such a big hit, it eventually transitioned into a TV show. The Jack Benny program continued to air for another 15 years until 1965. For half a decade, the program even aired in both formats. While everything seemed to be going swimmingly for Jack and his wife on screen, most people were unaware the two were dealing with some pretty serious personal problems. Despite some turbulent marital issues tied to Jack's fame, through good communication, the Bennys were ultimately able to navigate these turbulent waters. In 1934, Jack and Sadie, who had legally changed her name to Mary Livingstone, adopted a daughter. Benny described the way he first laid eyes on his new daughter humorously yet endearingly in his 1990 autobiography, Sunday Nights at 7, The Jack Benny Story. He said that upon looking at his new bouncing ball of joy, he was at first a bit dumbfounded. Describing her crooked legs, tiny little arms, and wrinkled face, Jack apparently at first was bewildered by the fact that she was the child Mary chose. "How can you want to adopt such a funny-looking thing like that?" Benny questioned. "Isn't she darling?" Mary replied with a smile. Clearly, Benny wasn't implying his daughter was ugly. That was just the kind of off-kilter, tongue-in-cheek humor he was known for. Deep down, Jack was overjoyed at the prospect of being a father. Despite his initial reservations, within 2 days he'd given his entire heart and soul to little baby Joan. He even went as far as saying she completed his and Livingstone's lives. Throughout Joan's upbringing, Livingstone was the firm and resolute disciplinarian, while Benny was, as he put it, a softie. Benny had to sit down and talk with little Joan at one point when she emphatically declared she hated her mother. During this sit-down chat session, Benny admitted to Joan that at first he wasn't sure about adopting her. He even explained how he initially thought her to be unsightly, but then he described how confident her mother was that she was the right choice and how this proved she loved her very much. Joan's marriage. At 19, Joan Benny married a hotshot New York stockbroker named Seth Baker. Their wedding was an extravagant affair, one of the most lavish in Hollywood history, running up a bill estimated at $25,000. Jack Benny looked as proud as a father could be when he walked his daughter down the aisle. After the ceremony, a reception was held at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and no expense was spared. White lilac floral arrangements were shipped in from Holland, and famed fashion designer Don Loper was dispatched from France to provide Joan with her gown. Throughout her life, with all its twists and turns, Joan was always proud to have her father in her life. She adored the man and counted herself blessed for enjoying a healthy relationship with him. Whenever asked, she would describe him as the nicest man she knew. While Jack's show might have been his main priority throughout much of his life, he and Joan always remained very close. Whenever they got the opportunity, they'd go to baseball games, travel to various cities and countries, and attend concerts and performances together. Joan eventually had 2 children of her own. She later reflected on things, saying Jack was every bit as attentive and loving as a grandfather as he was a father. She lived just down the road from him, and 2 or 3 times a week he'd come over to see his grandchildren. At age 80 in 1974, Benny died of pancreatic cancer. Sadly, the cancer wasn't discovered until it showed up on an X-ray just a few days before his passing. In his will, Benny left the bulk of his estate to his wife, Mary Livingstone, his daughter Joan, and his sister Florence. 5 years later, Livingstone passed away at age 77 from a heart attack. Now it's time to hear from you. What are some of your favorite memories of Jack Benny? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.